Shalom and welcome to Tuesday night study here at Brit Am. We're glad that you're watching. We're hoping that you'll not only watch this video, but you'll share it with your friends if it's a blessing to you, and that you'll hit the watch party button now so that you can share with more people as we do the study. A couple of announcements as we begin our study. First of all, tomorrow evening at 6:30, we'll have our Yom HaShoah gathering. So we're going to have people reading stories from survivors and those that didn't survive, as well as we're going to watch the movie Paper Clips. So we encourage you to come out to the synagogue, be part of Yom HaShoah observance. Don't forget to come this Saturday evening at 6 o'clock for Java Nagila, our Coffee Fellowship special musical artists, Catherine Currier and Trinity Wilkes. I'm looking forward to hearing them play and share their gift and talent with us and have some great coffee and some great fellowship with our family. On July 4th, we'll have our intercongregational picnic here at Brit Am. We've invited 5 other congregations from around the area. We're hoping all of them will participate. We know that several of them have already committed to, so we're looking forward to being part of that. We'll have hot dogs, hamburgers, water slide for the kids, volleyball for those that want to play volleyball, and just hang out and fellowship together as a greater community in Messiah. We're still in need of some nursery volunteers for our nursery. If you can assist with that, see Rivka. Our synagogue facelift, the painting of the exterior of the synagogue, we've now raised all of the money for that. And I posted the other day, this is the first time that I can remember that I could say to everybody, okay, not only have we got enough, but we've received more than enough. I felt like Moses for a moment when they were gathering materials for the tabernacle, and he had to say, look, we've got enough, stop giving. So I want to say, if you've given money to the facelift, we're not sure what the total is going to be exactly, because when you're painting and working on exterior buildings, sometimes there's things that pop up that cost a little extra. So what we've done is we put the donations into a separate account, and then at the end of the project, when we pay for the painting, any leftover funds will go directly into the building fund. So that's what's going to happen with the little bit of money that's left over. We appreciate those that support it. Thank you so much for your generosity. Great news, our new website is now live. You can go to shalompensacola.com, check out the website. There are a few things that are still being completed in it. A few of the things you're going to click on are just going to say coming soon. But the majority of it is done now, and we're very excited about this new, clean, easy-to-navigate website for the synagogue. Not only that, but because we've switched to this new platform for our website, shortly all of these videos that we do, our teachings, our Shabbat services, they'll be not only on the website itself while it's live, but it'll be on YouTube, on Apple TV, on Roku TV, and on Facebook all at the same time. So those of you that don't use Facebook or maybe don't have access to it where you're at, you can follow us by going to those other formats for watching our videos. So we're excited about expanding our video teaching platform as well as this new website. We also have an app now, so if you're part of our congregation, you want to follow along with what's going on, maybe you come visit us periodically and you just want to know what's going on when you're in town, the app has all of our upcoming events. It has our teachings on it. It also has, and this is very important for those of you from our local community, the app has a messenger stream on it, and you need to sign up for that. You need to let Leah know, are you part of the safety team? Are you a Shabbat school teacher or helper? Are you part of the men's ministry or the ladies' ministry? All of those things, because each one of those has a separate messenger space on it so that you can be kept in the loop on all the events going on in that group, or if you have a prayer request or something like that, all that can be done through the messenger on the app, as well as the app has push notifications so that when something special is going on, you'll get a message, a push notification directly to your phone that says, hey, this is happening, and you can follow all that along on the app. So the app's available on Apple and Android systems. So we want everybody to download the app as soon as possible, and then contact Leah to let her know which groups you need to be added to on the messenger so that you can be part of what's going on with that. And then the last announcement for today is the Spanish Trail Farmers Market is this Sunday morning from 10 to 2. Please come out, check out the vendors, and if you are a vendor, maybe you make jewelry, maybe you sell market goods like pickles or relishes, maybe you have books that you've written, maybe you do artwork or prints or ceramics or whatever, woodworking, anything like that. Please come out, be part of it. Contact Missy, who's in charge of our farmers market, at koshermissy@gmail.com if you want to be a vendor. And if you don't want to be a vendor, just come on out. We also usually have coffee vendor out now and many other things. So please come on out, be part of the Spanish Trail Farmers Market, which is this Sunday, 10 to 2 p.m. So that's what's going on locally. You can always go to our website, shalompensacola.com, and follow up there, or as I said, download the app and follow along there. We're in the book of Romans. We're doing Romans in context, and we're in chapter 12. Last week we talked about verses 8 and 9. We're going to start over with those. We went previous to those, but we ended with verse 8 and 9. So I'm going to read those again, and then we'll have a running start going into the rest of chapter 12 today. It says, or the one who exhorts in his exhortation, the one who gives in generosity, the one who leads with diligence, the one who shows mercy with cheerfulness. Let love be without hypocrisy, detesting what is evil and holding fast to good. Last week I talked a little bit about how this is talking about callings in the body of Messiah and how each person, I believe everybody has a calling to the kingdom. I don't believe that anybody is called by God to come into the kingdom and do absolutely nothing. Some people have different callings than others. Some will be on a worship team. Some will be a teacher. Some will be in helps ministry. There'll be ushers that when people walk in, they greet them, greeters, people that help with giving announcements, working on the building, doing the yard work, taking out the trash. All of these are abilities and talents and gifts and availabilities that people have to be able to do these things. So, but everybody is not equal in those things, and especially when it comes to ministry. I've seen more than one person enter the ministry and try to do something that they weren't gifted in and fail at it and end up walking away from ministry because they weren't good at something that they weren't called to be good at. It says one who exhorts in his exhortation, but that means that not everybody is an exhorter. Not every congregational leader. You can have a rabbi or a pastor that's not gifted in teaching or exhortation, but they're unbelievably good at shepherding and loving on the flock and taking care of them. So his job would be to be a shepherd, and he would have people working with him on his team that would be the exhorters, the teachers, and so on. So it's really important that you find what it is that God has gifted you in and then work within your giftings. That way you'll be successful, and the entire body of Messiah will have success because each of us are doing what God designed us to do. If you're a heart, you can only be a heart. You can't be a liver. If you're an eye, you can't be an ear. Doesn't matter how much you try. If you were created to be an eye, you're not going to be able to be an ear. And likewise, if you were called by God and gifted to be a teacher, you may not be gifted at exhortation. You may not be gifted at administration. You may not be gifted in other things. One of the things that we did at our congregation that helped us to grow tremendously was I realized very early on that although I can do administrative work, I'm not gifted in administrative work. So instead of hiring an assistant rabbi or an associate rabbi or somebody to do additional teaching and sharing and all, we hired an administrator who was gifted in administration. And what that did was it allowed us to not let things drop, so many balls that you're juggling drop because there's not somebody there to catch them. So we had people that would come to our congregation and visit, but I was too busy taking care of all the different fires, putting out fires and tending to things to be able to keep up with visitors and just doing things like sending a simple thank you note for visiting. And we had people that would come regularly and have something come up in their life where they weren't there for a couple of weeks, but because I was so busy doing other things, I didn't notice that they weren't there for a couple weeks because, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. And so the things that you notice are usually the loudest and most boisterous or most problematic things. So the people that are good, solid members of your congregation that don't make a lot of noise, don't cause a lot of fuss, don't do all those things, sometimes they cannot be at a service and you don't even notice it, not because they're not people that you would notice or care about, but because they're not problematic that you're looking to see. Are they here? Are they doing this? What's going on? You're not watching them. So hiring an administrative person helped us to seal some of the holes in the bottom of the bucket, so we didn't have people falling out that with their problems and crisis and needs that weren't being met because I was dealing with other things. So everybody should walk in their gift and calling. If you're and let me say this also, that administration is ministry. If you're called and gifted in that way, there are ministries that need help in those areas. So please do that. If your gift is just intercession and prayer and you just have a real heart to pray for people, those are some of the most important things that can happen in a congregation. And if you're gifted in that, do that. Get with the leadership team and say, hey, I want to be one of your prayer warriors. I want to be somebody that when somebody has a need, you call me, because I'll get down and pray right then. And that holds up the congregation. People that are the prayer warriors usually aren't the ones that are seen. They're not up front. They're not really noticed, but they're so important to a community. So as it says, let all this be done as God appoints us to do, and let it be done with, let love be without hypocrisy, detesting what is evil, and holding fast to what is good. In all of that we do, and all the ministry that we do, we have to do it without hypocrisy, and we have to detest what is evil. This is something that is limited, unfortunately, within the body of Messiah today. We have, in a large extent, quit detesting what is evil. Detesting means to make it hated or something, like some people think liver and onions is detestable. They just wouldn't even let it become into their mouth or taste it or be part of it. We have allowed sin into many of our congregations because we love these people. We just, the whole idea of love being accepting rather than love being correcting. If a parent really loves a child, they don't just let them do anything they want to. They don't let them have their will in every situation and every circumstance, because true love corrects, true love educates, true love teaches, true love exhorts, true love helps people to be better. It doesn't just put up with it. And we need to speak out against evil. We need to be the voices that speak against the destruction of marriage. We need to be the voices that speak against abortion. We need to be the voices against hatred and racism and these things that the Bible says are detestable. And we need to be the loudest voices speaking against what is evil, because we need to actually detest it, not just put up with it or ignore it or even just bear with it. No, we need to detest it. We need to be active in our adversarial actions against the evil one. We need to be warriors fighting in a real battle that is spiritual, that is going on in our world. And it says holding fast to good. And again, we need to be as active in holding on to those things that are good and presenting them as good, as valid. The family structure that God created is good, and it should be held onto just as strongly. We should promote and support and hold on to biblical marriage as we do in detesting the unbiblical. Verse 10 goes on, Romans 12:10, be tenderly devoted to one another in brotherly love, outdo one another in giving honor. I love this verse. Be tenderly devoted to loving to one another in brotherly love. This is, again, we sometimes we've lost this in the body of Messiah. The family relationship. If you look at our new website, and I hope you will, and I'm not saying this to promote the website, but just because this is the heart of our community, the website is set up so it says, on the tabs on the top, it doesn't just say this, but it says our family is this, our family does this, our family teaches this, our family supports this, and because our goal is to be brothers and sisters, to be a family, to love one another. In doing so, being devoted to one another means that we put that person as a primary in our lives. That, I'm devoted to my wife, so when somebody asks me if I can do something or want to do something or want to go somewhere, my first thought is, am I already doing something with my wife? Am I already involved with something? Maybe she has something that she's already thought about doing that we need to talk about, because I'm devoted to my wife. In ministry, sometimes we allow the ministry to be more important than our family. And I know that I've failed at this at times in the past, and I try really hard not to do that. That sometimes something comes up and we have plans with our family, and something comes up and we go, oh, no, I have to go do this because I'm a rabbi, or because I'm in ministry, or because this is my role or my function. But we have to be devoted to one another in brotherly love. That means putting our community first in many things. And when I say our community, that's your family, and then the family of families that make up our community. And each one we need to be devoted in brotherly love. And again, love doesn't mean ignoring faults. Love doesn't mean just pretending things aren't there, or not instructing people. True love means that if somebody is having a problem, we go to them in love, as Matthew 18 says, and we share with them our heart for them and our concern about what they're involved in, or what they're doing, or what they might be doing. True love, brotherly love, tenderness doesn't go out and gossip. It doesn't go out and talk to other people. It doesn't go out and, hey, did you hear about so-and-so? We really need to pray for them because they're involved in this or they're involved in that. If you haven't gone to that person in brotherly love, that's your first step. Then your second step, if they don't correct it or don't seek repentance, is to go to the elders of your congregation. It doesn't say if they don't accept it, go to everybody else, put it on Facebook, send out a tweet, message about it, gossip behind their back. That's not brotherly love. And then the next one is something that we fail in many ways to do on both sides. It says, outdo one another in giving honor. Sometimes our pride doesn't allow us to recognize and honor those around us and really recognize and thank them. For instance, I talked about the website that we just did, and Leah did a tremendous amount of work and everything to make that website come together, to fill in all the spots, to do all the work that's done in there. So I want to give honor to her for the hours and hours and hours of time that she worked on that to make that special for our congregation. The people that work in our nursery, we want to honor those that are devoted to those children and to the parents and are willing to serve in that way. The people, when I go to speak at congregations, a lot of times I'll say something about the sound and tech people, because in general, the only time you ever hear at a congregation about the people doing the PowerPoint or the people doing the sound or the video or any of that is if something goes wrong. When everything is going right, it just happens. And so we need to honor people for doing that. The other side of this, though, is I cannot tell you how many times over the last few years I've gone up to somebody and said, hey, I really appreciate what you did, or hey, you did a really good job, or something like that, to have them not be able to actually take the compliment. Well, whatever. Well, it just, we have to both learn how to give honor to people, but we also need to learn how to receive honor from people. If somebody says you have a nice outfit, or you look good, or that's a nice car, you don't have to say something like, I went up to somebody the other day and said, that's a nice car. He said, yeah, I almost apologizing for the fact that they bought a car. You don't have to do that. God blesses us. He provides for us. He does things for us. And when we receive that honor in that way, from somebody, when somebody says, oh, that was a beautiful song, and you downplay that honor, you're downplaying God's gift in your life. And even the guy who bought the car, God blessed him for his faithfulness. And he didn't have to downplay the fact that he bought a car with the blessing that he worked for and that God gave him. So understand that we need to outdo one another in giving honor. It doesn't just say give honor, but it says make effort. This is something we should strive to outdo the other in giving honor, and especially giving honor to God, which is the primary in everything that we do. Verse 11, do not be lagging in zeal, but be fervent in spirit. One of the things that I always think about when I read that verse is on Saturday morning when people come into the synagogue and it looks like they're dragging themselves out of their bed, and the effort that they have in coming in to worship. I had to get up and do this. It's the zeal for praising God, the zeal for worshiping, the zeal for hearing God's word, the zeal for being part of the family of God, that fervency. If when you're coming to the table to eat and consume the gifts of God, if you're dragging yourself to do that, how much zeal and energy are you going to have for bringing that out of the building to share with somebody else? If you can't get excited about the dinner, how are you going to get excited about telling somebody about the dinner, about sharing those things? We need to have zeal. The zeal of the Lord, the strength of the Lord, the power of the Ruach must be upon us, and we must be fervent in spirit. And let me say this, it doesn't matter what it is. I told somebody the other day that if we could just get the people of our congregation to get the mindset of people that are vegans and CrossFitters, we could change the world. Because when you talk to somebody who's a vegan, they have absolutely no problem being excited about their lifestyle and what they eat and the new products they found and how they found this to replace that and all the things that they've done with vegan. And I'm not knocking vegans. Please don't get me wrong. If you're a vegan, I encourage you to live the lifestyle that you feel you've been led to do. Likewise with CrossFit, my son does CrossFit, my oldest son, and when I talk to him, he'll call me up. He said, Dad, let me tell you about the WOD I did today. Now, it took me a while to figure out what a WOD was the exercise plan for the day. So, man, it almost killed me. He was so excited about the pain, the agony, the struggle, the suffering. He was like, Dad, you got to try this. I'm like, no, I like my life. But anyhow, people that are CrossFitters get excited about it, and they evangelize other people with what they're excited about. And if we could just, as the body of Messiah, get that kind of enthusiasm about our lifestyle, about choosing to live for God. If every conversation, when I have a conversation with my son, probably 80% of the time, CrossFitting gets into that conversation. If I have a conversation with somebody from our community that's vegan, hey, Rabbi, have you tried this? This is vegan. My wife was so funny. She had a cake that somebody made, and she ate it, and it was really good. And she said, well, this doesn't taste vegan at all. I'm not exactly sure what vegan tastes like, but maybe it tastes like chicken, because, everything tastes like chicken. But if we could get that excited about our faith, if we could get the zeal and fervency of the Spirit, that people that are involved in those things, that their lifestyle has been so changed by the things that they've included in their life that they can't help but tell other people about it. Think how many people we would reach for the Lord if we would just get that excited about our faith, if we would get that excited about what God has done. And again, this is part of the above verses, and we'll be closing with these thoughts that I'm doing right now for this week, but this is part of the above verses. Remember, if your calling isn't what you're doing, if you're working outside of your gift, if you're working outside of your calling, you're not going to be excited about it. You're not going to be. I remember one of the young ladies in our congregation who works in the office, we gave her a job doing administrative stuff, working with numbers, taking care of things. she hated it. And now she could do it, but she wasn't excited about it. But when we were able to put her in a position in the ministry that she was excited about, everything changed. She was looking forward to coming into work. She was looking forward, because that's what her calling, what her gift is. Likewise with every one of us, if we're asked to go do something that we don't like to do, we're not going to be excited about it. But if we find our place in the kingdom, if we find our gifting and our calling and we work within it, we will have the zeal and the fervency, because we'll be doing that which we love to do. We'll be excited about it. We'll be looking forward to going to do it. If you're a fisherman and someone says, we're going fishing, you start getting excited about it. And as soon as the word fishing comes into mind, you start thinking about, my tackle, is everything ready? What about this? Where are we going to go? What are we going to... The process becomes exciting to you. And that's how it should be about our faith. Whatever you're doing for the kingdom, if you're working in your gifting and calling, and you're doing it the way you're supposed to, you will be excited about it, and that excitement will well up within you. And it'll be like the scripture says, as if rivers of living water are pouring from within you. And when that happens, the excitement will be contagious, and other people will want to be a part of what you're doing, because they see the joy, the enthusiasm, and the excitement in your life. We're going to continue next week from there. I hope this has been a blessing to you and an encouragement. I hope that you'll pay attention to what I said. Every person listening to this recording has a calling and a gift of God on your life. Please find how to use it within the kingdom. Go to your rabbi, go to your pastor, go to the leader of your congregation, and tell them, this is where I'm good at. This is the part of the things that God has gifted me to. I'm good at administration. I'm good at communicating. I'm good at doing this. I'm good at teaching. I'm good at taking care of children. I'm good at doing yard work. I've got a green thumb and I'd like to do something. We have a couple of planters in front of our synagogue. I've been praying for somebody. Lord, send somebody with a green thumb that loves to plant, that'll come up and replace the stuff and tend it and make it so it looks beautiful, so that when people come up to the synagogue, they see the beauty of your creation, and that somebody cares about this, and that would be their ministry, their gift, what they're doing. And then when they bring friends, they can say, look, I'm over this. I've planted these plants. I water these plants. I weed this garden. This is where God has placed me. This is how I use my gift in the community. You may be able to cook, and you may be able to serve food, whatever. You may have that kind of personality and that kind of gift. Use it. And while we're speaking about food and gifts and serving, I did have one more announcement I wanted to share. And that is that starting in May, we're going to be returning to having onegs at the synagogue. We haven't had them for quite some time. For the last little bit, we've been having people bring their own food and have fellowship and bring their own food from home. But we're going to go back to having people bringing food to share with the community. We will be following protocols like you would see in a restaurant, where the food will be brought, and then people will have gloves on and serving you at the line, kind of like you would see at a restaurant where people are serving the food to you. And we're going to abide by common sense, sanitation and cleaning and stuff like that. But we are going to return to that. And last, as we close, is, gentlemen, if you haven't signed up for the men's conference, the end of May is the men's conference, the 28th through the 30th, with Rabbi Jonathan Bernis from Jewish Voice Ministries. If you haven't signed up and registered, please do so. This is going to be an actual live, in the building conference, where you're actually going to be able to see the people right in front of you instead of over the video cameras. So come join us for that. It's going to be an amazing time of fellowship, of learning, of instruction, and of connection, of kesher between the men of the body of Messiah. Thank you so much for joining in. Again, I hope you'll share this video with others, and I hope you'll come back next week for our next video teaching on Romans in context. Thank you.